It's okay to fail. So what if you fail? Would you die? No. Would the world end? No. Always me as a person. I always evaluate. Is it worth that you collapse and, oh, what about me? And that just answer between you and yourself in a paper. Okay, next, move. Because at the end of the day, this is how even you have the taste of the good moment. If it's always good and it's always flowery and it's always, like the Barbie thing, this is not a life as well. For me, I'll give you an example. As you said, I'm in a position that I can sit home, not doing anything, and just living a life that a lot of people who's living, are wealthy people or from royal families or whatever. But I didn't choose that. I chose the hard way because I want to do something with my life. I want to create a name beside the HRH. I want people to know Lamia bint Majid. And this was my motto all my life. There's something, I didn't come to this world just to be a princess. That's not a job.
Welcome to the Sonya Barlow Show. My name is Sonya Barlow, and I am the host of this very authentic audio and video based podcast. Ultimately, I wanted to interview ordinary people who are becoming extraordinary. I really wanted to create something which doesn't necessarily exist on the internet today. And that's no noise, no clutter, to the point conversations with very cool people all over the world. If you have any questions that you want to answer, if you want to be a part of the show, or if you're just interested in where we're traveling next, drop me a line, hello@sonyabarlow.co.uk or @sonyabarlowuk. I won't keep you any longer because we have amazing interviews lined up. Let's get straight into the chat.
Princess, thank you so much for being here with me and having this discussion. As you've mentioned, you're now getting involved in kind of tech conferences or conferences generally. Is there a reason as to why specifically now is a good time for women and individuals to get into tech?
First of all, thank you for having me, and it's a great pleasure knowing you personally. Second, I believe it's now or never, honestly. Nowadays, the use of the virtual world and how you can use it to benefit the others, it's a quite very wide range of options. And after the COVID, it made us realize the importance of this part in our life. It made it much easier. And it's much cheaper from a philanthropic perspective to create awareness and to deliver your message. High in reach, crazy high in reach. For women in specific, I would give you just one example. In Saudi Arabia, women are excelling in the tech world. The last 2 hackathons, they were the winner were Saudi young women, which is very, very, very much, I'm very much personally proud of them. I believe, yes, we can benefit out of it a lot. We can benefit out of it to deliver what's still missing for us to reach our highest potential. Yes, definitely.
And can you talk us through some of the work that you've been working on in the past, even in the background so far, and what really pivoted you to get onto it?
Okay. So let me give you a quick brief about Alwaleed Philanthropies. It's a foundation led by His Royal Highness Princess Lamia bint Talal. He's one of the biggest businessmen around the world. And he's applying the same concept of business as in philanthropy. So he literally refused to be specialized in anything in business and investment. And this is what we're doing as well as in philanthropy. So literally we're doing everything from A to Z. So we have 5 areas of focus, which is community development, goes under it, health, education, infrastructure. We do women and youth empowerment, and we lean toward the creative economical empowerment. We provide vital disaster relief in time of crisis. We do a lot of interfaith and interculture and narrowing gap between our part of the world and the West. And the 5th area of focus, which is the newest, it's about 6 years ago, we start heavily tapping into it, which is promoting for a clean and healthier environment and communities. Why we entered the tech world? When you live in a region which is almost from 60 to 70% are under 28. So you're dealing with youth. And youth have their own language. They don't talk the language that we're talking. They're not convinced with what we're saying with our own methodologies and language and channels and mediums. So we had to be more creative to lure them in and to make them understand the most pressing issues around the world, man. So first we started like leaning towards, the application, the platforms. We created application application to create awareness for legal rights for women in Saudi Arabia, and pro bono law cases that we take it on in regard of women. We do a lot of training application. We did an application with Save the Children. We supported an application with the International Scouts Foundation. And then a year ago, we launched our first Metaverse Center. We launched it during the International Tolerance Day. And we exhibit in it we have a research center, and I would say in the most prominent universities. So we have a research center in Harvard, in Cambridge, Edinburgh, Georgetown, American University, Egypt, and Cairo, and Beirut. Also, we're a true believer of the impact of art on people. So we can have this decent, healthy dialogue, and even if we disagree, we'll not fight.
Absolutely.
In art. And we wanted to create awareness about the Islamic art. So we built from scratch the Islamic Art Center in the Louvre Museum in France.
Yes.
And we duplicate this with the Berlin Museum, the Pergamon Museum, and we collaborated with the Oxford History of Science Museum with Oxford. So we exhibit all of that on the Metaverse. And believe it or not, it got 2.5 billion hits.
That's amazing.
Yes, because we're getting close to them with their own terms, not our own terms.
Absolutely. And that brings me on to a few thoughts that I've been having whilst you've been speaking. It's as a woman of color and as someone who's constantly marginalized, I think it's a shame how through media or social media, the successes are not seen, the changes are not seen, and yet women still feel like they're not being heard, they're not being recognized. How do you think that women who are excited to get into tech or accelerate in their careers or take ownership of themselves, how do you think that they can find their own purpose and power and really elevate their confidence so that they too can be change makers, but also can feel comfortable using platforms like yours to really enhance their own education and awareness?
It's very interesting. Maybe in Saudi Arabia, we have a different module of that. Everything, for you to participate in certain workshops or to gain certain knowledge, channels to do so is very clear. And honestly, as I just told you, it's my first time to enter such a conference, and really I want to go in depth in that. Maybe it's not that clear where they can upscale their knowledge and their education in this regard. But I just want to comment on one thing that you said. They're not recognized. Women are not recognized. It's good to be seen. It's very good to be seen, and it's very I would say it gives you that satisfaction that finally I'm there and I did it. But in the philanthropy world, if you're doing that for the sake of other, I don't think this is the goal.
Oh, absolutely.
You're getting me? I don't. But yeah, it differs which area that you're working on. Philanthropy, at the end of the day, your goal or your success is benefiting the other.
So it's the impact that you're creating.
Yes, it is the impact. But I'll tell you one thing. I totally agree. You're saying that you're a woman of color. You know, of course, that the full international press used to have this image of the Saudi woman and how we're tortured and how we're not educated. And all of a sudden, when His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman decided that no, this is not right, let's change. We're sitting now together. I'm not 15 or 20 or 30. I'm much more than that. So that means that I have been working from before.
Mm-hmm.
That proves that the image that the international media used to portray the Saudi woman is not right. If I didn't have a mother like my mom, if I didn't have a brother who supported me, I would never be able to be that knowledgeable, that confident to sit with you now and talk like that. So, and now any Saudi in any interview when they get asked about this question, that what about the women empowerment?
Yes.
It's only propaganda. Nowadays, you will find them reply, we don't care what you think.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're succeeding. We're working. We're building. So this is the same I would advise women to do.
But that also feels like it's owning your power. It's kind of not seeking external validation, and it's saying, hey,
Exactly.
we're going to do our work.
That's very, very good point. We need to stop waiting for validation. Women in general,
Yes.
stop it. Just, you're working. You will get recognized. You're successful. You're doing good. Recognition will come, but you fulfill what you want to do. And maybe this is something that should be a calling for women. Don't need the approval of anyone.
Absolutely.
Just do what you have to do, and that's it. And enjoy it. Just enjoy what you're doing, you know?
May I ask how many siblings you have?
4 brothers and 3 sisters.
The reason I ask that is because I am also a sister.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned your brother several times,
Yes.
which I think is great. I guess my question being is, as sisters, as mothers, as aunties, as respective elders
Yes.
and women in the world, how do we start having those conversations at home about confidence and about career and about being able to do the work that we want to do? Because I think a lot of that change begins in the house. And like you've alluded to, the reason you haven't been doing it is because your house set you up for that foundation, even though the media might not know that exactly. And to your point, we don't really care what the media thinks, but what is your message to people who want to start really creating those foundations at home? And the reason I ask that is because I can only speak on behalf of the UK. And being a Pakistani woman in the UK, a lot of our feedback, and I kid you not, comes to, well, in Pakistan, they don't do that. In India, they don't do that. And I'm like, but they do. And for some reason, you are thinking about what was happening 100 years ago and trying to put it on us today. But women are working, women are progressing, women are educated, women are powerful, and women actually, have the ownership of the purse strings. They're the ones who are making decisions in the household. So how do we encourage, from a foundation of family level, especially as a sister, for that to start from home?
It's 2 things. First of all, it all depends on the mother. You need to be, as a mother for 2 girls, you need to be more logical with them. You need to control your fear, because you don't have to protect them 24/7. They need to do something wrong. They need to try wrong things to know the right, but you have to put the right foundation. Yani for me, my mom, she put the right foundation. And she pushed me up to my limit in whatever it is. That's what I'm doing with my daughter. We're 70% best friends, 30% I'm their mother. There is a borderline, and there's there's a clear line for respect. But even their friends, for them, I'm the cool mom. Yeah, which is very important. I go down to their level, and almost 50 or 60% I learn from them. Second thing, which is extremely important in this, don't try to make them your mirror. Understand and accept they're individuals. They have their own likes, their own do's and don'ts, their own taste, their own life. They will not live my life. I will not live theirs. And if you're convinced with those 2 things, your surrounding will completely different. Yeah.
What are some of the key skills that you think, especially women, but generally the young generation of today and tomorrow, should be working on so that they can be the tech leaders or the business leaders or the change makers of tomorrow?
Listen more than you talk. God didn't give you 2 years just like that and 1 month. You need to listen. You need to process what you heard before you reply. So we're so in a hurry in everything. Everything is extremely fast, and this make you lose a lot of opportunities in this world. Just listen. Just listen. I know it's hard for this generation to listen, but listen and be aware. You have to be aware because a lot of opportunities and good things will pass in front of you. If you're not aware, if you're not now and here, you will not realize it and it will pass.
Do you know why I laugh?
Yeah.
Because I've literally just had this conversation with my family on the weekend where they said to me, why do you not listen? They're like, why do you not think before you're speaking, and why do you not live in the moment? So it's interesting that those are key skills that we need to develop.
It's the balance between both of them.
And the balance, but I do think one consequence of having social media or constant information available or, you know, is we're running towards something, but we don't know what we're running towards. We're chasing a dream, but we haven't quite followed that dream because we're following the dreams of other people.
Absolutely.
How do you in your own way, or how have you in the past kind of kept your blinkers on and focused, especially when there's so many opportunities? And in your kind of repertoire and your status, in your profile, you could be doing a lot of things, right? And equally, you could be doing nothing. Like, how have you kept that focus and drive going?
It was honestly my mom. She taught me that every stage of your life, you need to have a goal for the next one. And you need to reach there whatever happened, whatever way, whatever methodology you're going to use. You just have to reach. So that's what I have been doing since I was literally in specific 15 years old. I start putting goals for my life. Maybe it's stupid goals sometimes. Like once it was my goal to get a cat, a Persian cat. And to call it Romeo, yes. And I called it Romeo, and it was my best thing ever. It was to the smallest thing to the biggest thing. It was a way of raising kids in our house, I would say.
As we start to wrap up, I guess bringing it back to the conversation around the work that you're doing in the impact space, but also the evolution in the sectors. What are some future trends that you are excited about when it comes to innovation, impact, and the coming of those two things together?
The astonishing amount of data that we can get with a click of a finger. This is something to know, to be accurate about where you're standing. It's very much important for you to move one step forward. Before gathering data, it was like a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of effort, a lot of partners, to gather everything all around the world, especially with the foundation working in 90 countries. So it was not that easy just to have a simple information to build on it. So nowadays, I think it's revolutionary what's happening. And it helps us a lot because it's all about data to help. It's about data to understand the communities. It's about data, the satellite, the vision, the images, the tracking, the reporting. I think we're living in a very interesting era, to be very honest. And this will reflect very well in our part of the world, in our line of business. It will help us a lot to do more accurate, this is the good word, accurate.
What are some cool initiatives that you, in your kind of business and in your enterprise, are working on that you're excited about?
Well, today we're launching a very exciting initiative, which is Atli. Atli is an AI reporter that monitor the deforestation, and we. Out of our work, it's one of the most pressing challenges in the climate, and I don't think it's that nourished or that highlighted in a way or not. And it's a very, I would say, not that of an easy issue to solve or resolve. But I believe what we're doing with the AI reporter, which is a tool that will monitor the world, and it will report by itself upon the deforestation or deforestation, so the pros and cons. And it will send this report to journalists, to activists, to groups. And via this, decision maker can have an accurate data for them to take action, even the groups to take action. So we decided to narrow the gap of knowledge between people who are really interested in doing something in this regard and an accurate data in a very, I would say, reasonable amount of time, not very late for them to take any action. And it's free, it's public, and it's the first of its kind, hopefully.
I love the phrase you use, you narrowed the gap, especially of education.
Yeah.
So on that point, how do you keep learning yourself? How do you keep following the trends? How do you keep upskilling, especially when you're now launching projects in AI, in tech, in business, which may have been different to the kind of mediums or the subject matters that you grew up with?
We, in the Vision 2030 in Saudi Arabia, we're committed to إيش يعني نزرع؟ to plant 10 billion trees. When we saw in Saudi Arabia the excitement of the youth, that they're really participating and they're really keen with the municipals, where you're going to do that and they created their own groups to do so. And when we start researching it online, we understood that this is a very important topic for youth. It's a very important topic for you. So to encourage them do more, so we facilitate this type of data for them to do more. This is the beginning, and that's why we call it Atlas. Atlas, it's Atlas, which is the map. Inshallah, every year we'll do our research, and we will marry or merge the AI with certain pressing challenge. Inshallah, but then
Inshallah. Yeah. My final question, I guess, which is more important, even for me, in this kind of day and age, you know, so far we've spoken about the impact that women already have in the world of work, the fact that a lot of it comes from your household and the way that you have been raised, but also the steps that you're taking to not be afraid of trying, because, well, you don't need external validation as long as you're confident in yourself. And it seems like even from an enterprise level, you are enabling new functionality and innovation by learning on the job and by thinking about what individuals want around you. But in all of that, one thing that constantly comes up, especially in our discussions with young professionals, and, you know, that's kind of one of your target markets, is how do you overcome that moment of failure, that moment of demotivation, that moment of rejection? So I'd love to know from in your perspective, when you are focused for that goal, but maybe you haven't achieved it, when you are ready to start that initiative, but you don't quite know how, or when you just have an idea, but maybe not the resources, what are some words of motivation or some career advice that you can give in those moments?
Let's be very honest. You will fail, and you will cry, and you will scream, and you will get depressed, and you'll stay in your room, and you will eat a lot.
Ice cream, probably. I don't know what you eat here, but
no, sweet shawarma. But listen, this is life. This is how you build your personality. This is how you build you. And you know what? Not every time you will succeed, but you have to take it as a learning curve. I know this is what I'm saying. It's very theoretical, but this is life. It's okay to fail. So what if you fail? Would you die? No. Would the world end? No. Always me as a person. I always have something, and this is what I taught my daughter. Before doing anything, you have to answer the four W's and H's. And you evaluate. Is it worth that you collapse and, what about me? And that, just answer between you and yourself in a paper. Answer it. Why, when, where, and how, who. Just answer it. If it's worth it, then take your full drama thing and do whatever. If it's not worth it, then okay, next, move. Because at the end of the day, this is how even you have the taste of the good moment. If it's always good and it's always flowery and it's always, like the Barbie thing, this is not a life as well. So for you to feel this happiness and this feeling of conquering, and I did it, you will not have this feeling if you get it as easy as that. So it's all about you, how you want. For me, I'll give you an example. As you said, I'm in a position that I can sit home, not doing anything, and just living a life that a lot of people who's living, a wealthy people or from royal families or whatever. But I didn't choose that. I chose the hard way because I want to do something with my life. I want to create a name beside the HRH. I want people to know Lamia bint Majid. And this was my motto all my life. There's something, I didn't come to this world just to be a princess. That's not a job. And this is not something that I want people just to remember, oh, she was a princess. No. I want to do something that will, when you will hear about me after I'm not here, you would say, oh, I sat with her. She was a very nice person. She gave me even a very simple information. This is what I want.
Well, on that note, I'm very grateful for your time, for your energy, and for your transparency. For those who are listening and reading and they want to get in touch with the great initiatives that you are launching and that you have launched, where can they find out more about those things?
It's on our website. It's www.alwaleedphilanthropies.org. More than welcome, and we reply directly or by our social media on all platforms.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, dear. Thank you. It was